Whoa, 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 whoa. Doing a little fun test here, just kind of hanging out, playing around a little bit. So if anybody jumps on here, let me know if audio is good that you can hear me because I have no way to verify. And you're more welcome since I'm just here sitting, playing around on the old computer. More welcome to ask any questions or concerns or ideas or anything under the sun. I'm going to read a little bit here while I'm just chilling. Uh, Wait, let's see. Let's hope something changed. Something changed in the neighborhood. Hope everybody's having a good. What is it? What is today? Tuesday? Oh yeah, we got our rain showers in today. We got a cool down. It was around 73 today. I think a high of 76, but we hung around 73 without that dew point, man. I'm telling you, that helps a lot. I see Rusty wrote back here. Holy catfish, Rusty! You wrote a big old email. Hopefully this is nothing too crazy. Doing it's 19.5. I don't want to share too much here. Good job, several parts. All summer. I was 13, get paid $4 per unit. Oh, save. Let's see here. Like I said, it's just a test. If anybody jumps on, just let me know. I don't know if it's going to pop up. I thought it pops up if you say stuff. I don't see nothing. I don't even know where to find my comments, honestly. It's kind of a bummer. Oh, classic, baby. It says comments. It says there's one. Okay, if I click on it, Lift Master Guy, just a test. Pretty much. We can talk if we want. Look, it says show. There it is. Covers up my name though. What's up with that, Willie? Silly Billy. Maybe we're here. Well, let me first get out. I overlooked Evan's email, which I apologize. So I just wanted to let you know too, if you guys ever send emails, does it just pop up another test? Does it kick you out? I see Liftmaster Guy. I see just a test, but that's it. Does it kick it out? How do you get rid of it? I could hide it, I guess, but like I said, I figured leave it up. Just play around a little bit here. Try it out. I haven't been on this platform in a while, the one here, the StreamYard. So I was just playing around with it. Had a few minutes to do it. But Evan, let's see here. Evan emailed me and I missed it. And what the fault was is because when you know how when you get emails, you click on them right away. If you click on them right away, and you know how like you click on it, well then you're like, oh, okay, cool. You know what I mean? And then you don't look, go right into it right then. You can like it gets lost. It doesn't show up highlighted. But Evan, I don't want to make sure I was sending any like email on here. And Evan, I don't know. I don't know what platform this is because I got it, right? It's Evan's GDO service, right? Whoop. I don't know what service, but it says, what'd you write on here? Just curious on what would help with making a business page seem more legit. Well, big thing is if you can get your organic pictures. Oh, perfect. So it's on Facebook. Yeah, I don't do a lot of Facebook with it, but the big thing is if you can take pictures, I can't tell you, like I look at it now. So like for me, I got the biggest, baddest daddy I could. I went with the iPhone. I don't know if I'd do another iPhone, but I think honestly the Samsung takes better pictures. But this had the biggest like gigabytes or whatever for pictures. And so when you're doing it, especially when you're starting out with any business, you should definitely I mean, there's so many things that I still wish I would even take more pictures of. And what's beautiful, even if you can take video, and I've been playing around with the DJI, basically a GoPro, what's nice about that, I've been looking for one even maybe because I've had a hard time with the hat deal. Because if you tilt it too far, it gets on the brim. So I've been looking at, I see a tow truck company that I watch. They use one. I don't know how exactly it straps, but it kind of comes right by their neck. And that way you can kind of see, what I'm doing. And I'm thinking about something of that nature. But you know how it is. You're trying to look for speed. You're also looking for comfort. But anyways, what I'm getting at is if you take video typically of everything, you can always screenshot it, right? You typically can pause it. You can screenshot it. But I do try to stop sometimes when I'm doing video to make sure you take some pictures of stuff that you're doing that you're like, you know what, that's a pretty cool shot. Maybe the sun's on it just right, or the customer, or the ladder, whatever just looks like you go, that's a pretty cool picture right there. So just, big thing is try to take your organic pictures. Now I found out with, at least with the iPhone, there's a lot of stuff on here that you can definitely take pictures with, and it has a very good editing where you can like zoom in. And I mean, you can really make it look pretty much like it's probably your picture, that you take, you sent me another email. I don't think it came to the top. If it did, not yet. Anyways, completely forgot. It says I completely forgot I did that. It happens. Freeze. What's up, Mr. Freeze? Just a test. Why doesn't it show everybody's message though? What's going on here? So I can go like this. I guess I got to go down. That's how it is. Okay. So we go sent another email. Okay. So I guess I got to click on it. Okay. I thought they popped up. I forgot. Freeze. Freeze. If you can read this, it works. I can read it, man. I can tell you're here. Thanks for being here. Read this. It works. It's still showing my first comment. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. I guess I have to click on it. So I kind of forgot, like I said, that's why I wanted to play with it just a little bit. I had a few minutes. I thought, what the heck? I'll jump on here, see if I can play with this thing again. I'm still not used to it. But I like it because if I want to eventually, or if I do a stream where I got you guys on here, I can show your question, which is kind of nice because honestly, what I've noticed, I'm not a whiz at this by any means, but what I've been noticing is there was a gentleman that was messaging. Oh, I think his name was John, Jon or something like that, Whaler or something. I have to look to so maybe he became a subscriber, but I was thinking, I was like, he had some really good insight the other night, maybe 2 nights ago on the live stream. And I was thinking, oh man, like I wanted to reach out to him, say, hey man, make sure you stay in touch because you got some good input. I think you know how you can tell somebody's probably been through the ringers a little bit and they got more to tell and they're just giving you blips. And I thought, I kind of wanted to ask him a few more questions. So I thought this is nice because obviously if it shows up, if it's, on a live stream like this, you could always go back in the live stream. And because I don't know if I don't see the comments. It's just whatever I read. And then I see comments after I post, the video's posted. So I just thought this is kind of nice because at least it's here and you could see it. What's the guy here? On your chest like a police officer. I know. That's what I'm thinking. Hey, Rusty, I was just reading your email. I was like, it's probably not good for this one. So I didn't read through it yet. But what was it? What were you saying? How long you been doing this? Was it since 1995 in the email? Let me check back here. Stream Rusty. Joe, I've been doing it since 1905, 10 years old. 10 years old. It's crazy. Rusty's here. Let's see here. Checking in. Figured out how to comment. Download the app. Really? Download the app. Really? That's interesting. Well, that's cool. I'm glad you're here, Rusty. It's finally nice to communicate. I don't know why you had to download the app. That just seems weird because typically I think maybe I'll just put it out there for some. Maybe because I know I get confused too. Let me go to my thing here real quick. See if uh, door door. There he is. There's that ugly mug. I'll turn this off so you don't hear. Okay, so wait a minute. Let me go because sometimes I've seen it like this. Well, it says on there though. There's live chat, but I guess I can click right on it. I don't think I ever had to download an app. I don't know. And then it shows everybody up, you know. Huh. I don't know. Interesting. Anywho. I remember that. Rusty's got, I'm 39 now. I graduated in 2004. 39, man. I'm telling you. Rusty is going to be, it's going to be interesting to see if you ever feel kind of the way I have felt. And I don't know. I might be just a little, I'm a cream puff, I guess. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you, 40 hit and it's like the world changed. And not dramatically, right? But I don't know. It's just it's weird how I don't know, perspective on life changed a lot. The body has been taking more injuries than normal, I've noticed. Um, don't heal as fast. Getting a little bit more, maybe once a year get a sickness, kind of knocks you down. Might be getting about two this year, two a year of sickness of some sort knocks you down for a couple days. I think what it was is when I went out and worked with Josh, we worked off those ladders, man. I haven't worked off ladders in forever. You know what I mean? Like I work off the residential ones, but man, it was like up and down those ladders, up and down, up and down. It was like I was like, holy cow. And then when you're doing stuff with weight, and you don't have your good footing, it's like, wow, things are changing in life. But from 10 to 13, I was trained just like your daughter, firsthand experience. Nice. Nice. Uh, Eric Scott, he says, I don't mess. Let's see here. I'll show this for a second. Excuse me. Oh, Evans. I see Evan changed his name on there. I don't know where to look on this thing. It's like you got a column over here. You got the bar over here. You got the camera here. Oh, yeah. Oh, technology. So I don't mess with garage doors until I was 17. But I've had interest in, was that machines? Ever since I was born. That's good. It's always good to be curious. I'm sure we're kind of all in that same boat. Most of us, it's kind of like, I like working on cars. I like working on like furnaces. I think the only one thing I don't like working on is transmissions. Transmissions is my one caveat that I just go, I'm out. I'll let somebody else do it. I mean, the clutch plates and all that stuff. I don't think it's rocket science. I mean, some of it is. Don't get me wrong. It's. I shouldn't say it like that because that's like almost like downgrading us, right? With garage doors and the homeowner's like, oh, I could do it myself, and I'm like, you could do it yourself, and I have no doubt but it's going to cost you a whole weekend. Where for me, it's going to be like 6-8 hours. You know what I mean? And I'm in and out because the little tricks and you got the right tools. There's your name. Your name changed. We got Elite. I didn't even see that. Elite says I'm 34. August. I started in this business in June of 08, right after graduated. Oops, I clicked down here. May of 2008. Yeah, it's I don't know. Was it kind of tough for you at that point? I just wonder because that was still in that rate in that gray area because I don't know. It seemed like it took till what 2012, 2016 when stuff started kind of going back up. Dun-dun-dun. We got here. Freeze. Best way to learn. It's way easier when you don't or when you do work firsthand. I'd agree. I'd agree. It's, and that's why I enjoy having, uh, all you guys here because, I feel like we're kind of on the same page. We get a lot of the, like, you just got to get out there and get your hands dirty. I get people that are like, well, I'm, this class and this class and this certification and this, and some things there's nothing wrong with getting trained or, like I said, it's kind of like you read a book, you might get a few nuggets from it, right? There's a lot of verbiage in there and you walk away with a few nuggets, which is good, right? Or some perspective, but it's for the most part, it's kind of like I like that saying, right? You can't you can do all the driver's training in books, right? But until you get out and drive, they can't they can't prepare you for what's out there with all the knuckleheads and distractions and ambulances and slippery roads and debris in the roads. You know what I mean? Rusty's got, I hope I stay in great shape. He says, my father just retired this year at 64. Wow. Congrats to him. That's awesome. Old and climbed 14-foot ladders when we installed our shop doors in July. Nice. Nice. That is awesome. That is very true. Hopefully, like I said, it does, I mean, I think a lot of that stuff too, some of that stuff keeps you young. Getting out and working. That's for sure. That's why I said I'm a little bit on the cream puff side because I don't really deal with the much of the physical. I get my exercise once in a while, but not as much as I used to. You know what I mean? I'm kind of more of a paper guy now. Move the paperwork around and get the contractors. But I think tomorrow, Thursday, we got a little gate job or something Cap's got going, so I'll probably take a little footage of that. I think it's for the Girl Scouts of America. Let's see here. It says other kids like building computers. I was always messing with openers, especially if I got my hands on used yellow Stanleys. The old Stanleys. I used to be when I was really, really young. I used to tear stuff apart and then I hide it because I couldn't put it back together. Transmissions are crazy complex, just like trying to get a LiftMaster A350 connected to MyQ. Yeah, some of that stuff gets a little wonky. There's no doubt about it. What's Elite got here? It says it was a little tough. I left for a short period and did electrical. Super glad I did it. Helped me out with learning high performance doors and control boxes and whatnot. That is true. That is true. Electrical is one of those things. It's a good thing. I always remember my dad wanted me to get. He wanted me to be an electrician, but I just don't. I don't mind. Like I don't mind like putting. How do I say it? Kind of like car stereos and car batteries and garage doors and stuff like that. But to do like all the high voltage stuff, it just does not entertain me. I don't know. It's just one of those things I just don't have an interest in. Pulling wires. I've been around enough contractors and stuff. Day in, day out, they come back to the same and they're pulling wires or hooking up wires. The conduit bending, my hat's off to a lot of those people. They do a great job. And I've done some myself, definitely not as good as theirs by any stretch of the imagination, but I just never do it and feel passionate about it. Like where I go, boy, I really would like to improve on this and grow. But it's good to know. I mean, the 3-phase and all that kind of stuff, every bit helps, right? Just like mechanicals and just like circuit boards and all that. I mean, it's kind of weird how you can kind of like look at certain things, even garage doors or electrical, and then it kind of like it gets you at least to have a broad sense of what's going on. Like when a furnace or something goes out or, for a family member, it's just nice to have it. Like you go, okay, well, obviously here's a transformer, here's a circuit board, here's a blower motor that takes the high voltage, and here's a relay. Okay. It's because all that stuff takes time to learn. Start period in electrical. Boom. Let's see what we got here. Eric. My grandmother had a set of wood doors, a Chamberlain. What is that? Electrical lift? Exclusive ops. And when I was 2 years old, I thought it was a giant door that moved by myself, or moved itself, by the coolest thing ever. Isn't that crazy how when you're young, things look so much. I think about where I grew up. Our garage was separated from the house. It seemed like it was the longest walk ever. It took me like 100 steps, you know what I mean? And like now I go there as a kid and you look at it and you're like 5 steps and you're there. Like, this place is not that big. That's just really cool. I got a few car doors too, those big car doors. I think mom scarred me for life in one of my eyebrows somewhere. I got a car door in there, laid me out on my butt in the grass. When you're a short little squirt, you catch those car doors. Let's see here. Says, I hear you guys mention connection problems with LiftMaster. I had an F-150 that wouldn't program today. Ooh, this is good to know. To an 8500. I don't know if they're still who did I message back? But are they still doing the repeaters? They still even offer the repeaters? I haven't done a residential one where I've had that problem. Like I said, I've gotten pretty good where I really try to dodge it, where I'm like, here's the remote. Take the remote, put it on your visor, use the remote. I've just had so many issues over the years that I really try to avoid it like the plague for programming them to the cars, because I got burned with that one. They had to have a repeater. Then it was like you still had to have the remote in your glove box in case the power goes out. And I just didn't know if they're still offering repeaters, or they're still doing stuff like that, or what's their gimmick out there now that they're doing to make them so they link up. Because what are the two ones that we got? We got HomeLink, and there's another one that somebody else used, a different car manufacturer. I can't think of what it's called. HomeLink is the one I always come across the most. It says, my mom gave me an electric book for Christmas when I was 13. Later that evening, I wired up a light fixture. Nice. That's pretty sweet. Good job. Good job, Mom. We love our moms, right? Good job. That's awesome. What do we got here? Not programming that one of my selling points. I heard your episode about not programming, and that's one of my selling points. It's just I've kind of found out I feel like over the years I've learned the power. When I was a younger lad, I didn't, but I've learned the power of no. You know what I mean? The no, or the power of I don't know. In business, you know what I mean? Or like, we don't do that, or that's a privacy issue. Like I think Tony was saying, the one about with your cell phone, because I think you're setting yourself up for basically more callbacks. Honestly, that's what it comes down to. Because I remember seeing so many customers, I would program their home link, and it was always, what did I always call it? It's more of a pulse, I would say, than a click. That's what I have to tell them. I say, it's more of a pulse than a click. Because they'd sit in the driver's seat and they'd automatically right away just click it. And they go, it's not working. I go, it's delayed. You have to hold it for a few seconds. Now, I didn't really get a lot of callbacks or anything, but it was just always one of those things that it was like, if somebody else drives their car, or, this thing gets, these things are getting so high tech, if the battery dies in this thing, mechanic works on it, I've seen kids play with these things, you know what I mean? And then it's like, a phone call a month later. Hey, could you come back and program? Now, if you're a great salesman and you're all about just the mighty dollar and you are like, not a problem, Mrs. Jones. I will gladly come back out there for another 65 or $125. And she's like, okay. Yeah, but for me, I'm like, nah, I don't need like, you know, it seems like with, we've been very blessed with affordable. We are always busy. We don't need where we're, doing that. It's like, if you want to try to do it, but you got to watch it a little bit because if they go up there and touch that opener too, that's a problem. That's a problematic. So they can mess things up there. I've had that issue. Oh, what's this one? I always program phones, cars, and anything else. Hey, go for it. Like I said, Rusty, if you feel comfortable with it, absolutely. Now the thing is though, Rusty, what I'd have a question is, do you have employees and multiple? And you're having them do all the same? Because that's where it gets, like I said, if you're a one man band, pretty much, you can pretty much get away with a lot of stuff because every phone call that you're answering, right? But you start getting a secretary involved, multiple secretaries involved, you start getting, employees, and then it turns into, they left a screwdriver in the back of their pocket and they ripped the leather seat. It gets to be a little bit dicey. What's Eric got? I stopped messing with HomeLink. I always say the remote is the most reliable option. Car to you? Is that what Kevin says here? Car to you, car to you. Yeah, I would agree with Eric there. Like I said, the remotes just boom, baby, they work. And even I mean, it's just funny, right? I mean, I guess in a nutshell, I could, right? But we got some newer vehicles, and I still use remotes. I want the remote. I don't need nothing. Some people don't. They got the Jags and stuff. I get it. I get it. I get it. But program 'em. Go ahead, baby. Go for yourself. What's this one say? I'm charging for my time to fix doors or download apps. Don't matter to me. That as long as you're getting paid, that's the big thing. That is the big thing. For me, it was always some of the things I've run into is that it's almost like people, at least in our demographic, right? We don't live in a very and it might be different for some of you guys that are like more in a, I kind of think of like California or something like that, right? Here, I'll play this little clip if I can. This is what I was thinking. I was like, this is pretty good. This is kind of, if there's kids watching, plug your ears. Let me see if I can find this.
Tree. It's nothing but fucking trees out here.
Talking about Michigan.
It's just this from hundreds and hundreds of miles. It's just fucking trees, and then out of nowhere, here's the biggest fucking body of water you've ever seen in your life, and then it's more fucking trees.
I seen that. I had to save that because that's Michigan. Michigan is like nothing but trees. So that's why we have very rural areas, and we have a lot of country folks. So for us, it's like the first priority is garage door needs to go up and down. Period. You know what I mean? Second is maybe a security, maybe but for us, it's kind of our security is called a shotgun, or a 30-06 rifle because a lot of us are hunters. So we got kind of our little splats of places in that. But like I said, it's always hard for us to say, hey, it's going to be another, if you want me to do this service. But what I've ran into is that most time I'm for in the business, we're on to another job. And I don't need the phone ringing with kind of like the keypad thing I did for a guy. And I was married into it for life. And every time he needed a keypad changed, because it never, at least for our business, it never works out where it's like we need stuff to do, right? It's like we're on to the next $8,000 job that it's like, and then when you get our residential that call and they're like, can you come out? And it's like, oh my gosh, well, this is kind of tough. Like it's hard to leave an 8,000 gross job, you know what I mean? And this guy right now is profiting the business, $200 or $300, and if he leaves right now, what burden that's going to put on us. You guys know what I mean. Tony, it's always good to see Tony. Good evening, guys. Tony shared with me, hope Tony doesn't mind. He said that Service Spring has got these doors, which maybe some of you haven't heard. They're selling some doors, garage doors, at a phenomenal price. And they're only going like 150 miles away from where their location is. Dang nabbit. I was a little bummed. So Tony's going to be selling the Sure Winders. He's also going to be selling garage doors soon. He's delivering them, pickup truckloads. Just so if you only need one, he'll deliver them. He said he'll do it for $20. I'm just joking. Don't bug Tony about that. That's totally a joke. Whoops. What did I hit here? Kids should get a hold of garage door remotes. Yes, they should. Good evening, Tony. No employees. He says, my brother and I own owner operators. That's sometimes really nice. And I'm not going to lie. Now, Rusty, I'm just curious too. Do you also, it says right here, next one. This was my next question. It says mother in office. Okay. Perfect. I was just wondering if you guys answered the phone. I did that for many years. Dave was chucking a truck and another guy, and it was before it was illegal. I had the earpiece and stuff, but I'd be on the phone, yakking away with the customers, figuring stuff out. I had to figure out, write everything down on the side of the road. A lot of stuff got missed. That was really not fun. I didn't do too bad, but I'd miss once in a while. That was a bummer. And then the secretaries came along. They're awesome. They do a great job. Everything gets plunked in. Rusty, I'm just curious. Do you use any kind of software? If you do, if you don't mind saying what you do, or if you just do everything's just, clipboards and paper or using anything like Jabber or anything? I'm just curious. Mother, big issue is when apps don't work. The customer doesn't want to pay you for your time. I wonder how much of a problem that is with the apps, because I do know obviously everything has ghost in them. They have glitches. So that is a good question. And like I said, I've been kind of hoping that like somebody around this neck of the woods would like start offering, there's always these salesmen, right? And I'm always surprised that there's not somebody dropping a link or an email or a fax. Did anybody do fax? Anyways, or something saying, hey, I do IT, we're working to relieve garage door installers of this burden, in a sense that we will come in. You can tell them to contact us and we charge, $99.99, you know what I mean? And we'll come in and we'll program their stuff because, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know what I think about it. I'm trying to think of a scenario where it's kind of like that, where you, some of that stuff is just getting to be, it's a little glitchy. That's all I know, that's a different level. So like for like Rusty, that my hat's off, man. That's great. That somebody's doing it. And it's great to have somebody part of the community too, because they might, they know some of the ins and outs of it. Tony's got thumbs up. Here we go. There's Tony, the Sure Winders. And the doors. Okay, so Rusty says we still use paper copies. Just recently got another accountant when we changed to LLC and have QuickBooks for checking profit and loss. Somebody should be like, if anybody wants to throw it in there a little bit, but over the years, I tell you what, I mean, this has just been doing this for a long time. I've had QuickBooks for a long time too. I mean, probably all of, have to be at least, I would say, 08, 010. And I can honestly tell you that QuickBooks has never been spot on. It's pretty close and it does a job and you got to have it, especially if you're growing, right? But I tell you what doesn't lie? What I found out? The bank account. That one doesn't lie. That one knows everything, the bank account. And QuickBooks will always be off. I don't know why, as much as I've had, I don't know, I think we've had up to 3 accountants looking over it at one time, right? And they're telling me certain things and, we have to pay taxes, which I know there's different ways of taxes and stuff that you have to pay at the end of the year. But it's like, you know, I'm always like, I go, the bank account don't lie. QuickBooks will say like, you got this much, and I'm like, no, we don't. No, we don't. It's lying. It's $10,000 off. It's just weird. It's weird. And we've put everything in. We've done it kind of when we were small. We've done it when we were kind of big. I just always go, oh, you want to know what's the truth? What they're going to hold you to, the torch, is they're going to hold you to the bank account. When you go and try to get a loan, you need to write a check, you need to spend money. The bank account don't lie, because if it ain't there, it ain't there. You know what I mean? That's how I always look at it. Let's see what Rusty's got here. So about QuickBooks, I wouldn't have realized we weren't charging enough for service and didn't raise our price enough for inflation. Ooh, see, that is true. It is nice. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like QuickBooks, I remember that was it was there. We've had it for a long time, but like I said, I remember when the wife she had to do something, and we had I think we were either running 5 or 7 service vehicles at the time. And she comes to me, and she tells me, she goes, I think we can afford a new truck or new van. And I'm like, how it is. Your wife never wants to spend money. And I'm like, oh yeah? I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, what's that? And, I think we were only in like February or March. And she's like, we're over $10,000 in vehicle repairs. And I'm like, holy crap. You know what I mean? So that's exactly where, the whole QuickBooks can show you. And that's one thing I've learned when you do QuickBooks and stuff like that. Oops, sorry about that. Is that you, for me, and I'll still never forget the one year. And this is why I always like talking about it's, there's a difference between being busy and there's a difference between being profitable. You know what I mean? And I almost kind of I just don't even, like, when I got business owners and all that, you busy? Oh, we're swamped. And I'm like, yeah, we try to be profitable. And, but I remember that one year, like I said, we finally were hit over $1 million in sales, and then it's like, you look at it, we got, I don't remember what it was. It was like 30,000 or something is what QuickBooks shows. Realistically, I think we got like 16,000 in the bank account. I go walk past all these trucks. I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I just got done at the accountant's, right? So I get back to the shop and I'm just like, man, I'm thinking, what the hell, man, all this hard work, man, I busted my ass, busted it. I mean, we're, like I said, the 14, 17 hours a day. And I mean, the guys were humping too. I mean, everybody, it was just like, man, we were so busy this year. What is going on? And I was thinking, I don't even have enough money, I said, to buy a brand new pickup truck. And I was thinking, what the hell is wrong with this situation? And I'm walking past all the trucks. We had the Ford Rangers and that. We had a couple other bigger trucks too. But, one truck's got the window smashed out, tires are bald. Trucks got, a lot of these trucks got over 200 plus, some 300,000 miles. And I'm just like, this is stupid. This is absolutely stupid. And that was when the first time I kind of had that light bulb, and I said, what are we doing here? I said, this isn't making no sense. So I went through and I started looking through, and it was like, I forget what the highest one was, but it was like your material. I was like, okay, so the vendors are all making their money. Okay. And theirs are all like fixed in a sense, right? Because they got a building, they got their electric bill. Yeah, there's a little bit with employees and stuff that all changes, right? So they're getting their money, which they all got their problems too. And then it was like, I don't remember if payroll was next or it was fuel, but they were right there. So I'm like, okay, employees, whatever. You know what I mean? I don't mind like employees. That's the people making money. They got to pay their, they're making a lifestyle. I don't mind that. It's like that's so well, it is what it is. And then it was like, here's fuel. I'm like, oh, Saudis are making their money. You know what I mean? A lot of fuel. You know what I mean? And then it's like, here's vehicle repairs, and then the list just goes on and on and on. And it's like everything is chewed. And that's why when I realized, that it's important, that our biggest problem was the traveling. You know what I mean? Because you think about it, you're paying, even if you're, paying yourself or whatever, every time you're typically in the vehicle. See, a lot of people don't. I do now, and I never thought this way. I look at myself as like an attorney, right? And I go, every minute I'm in this vehicle, I want to be paid. And when you start breaking it down, like if you really start calculating it, you'll realize how much little you get paid. You know what I mean? Because you're kind of going, if I'm 15, 20 minutes in the vehicle, and yes, I'm doing a service call, let's say a service call for $65, and you don't know what that service call is going to turn into, right? You might say, well, your service call covers you for an hour. And you know how it is. Sometimes you're there for an hour and 5 minutes. You're like, yeah, and you're there for an hour and 10 minutes. Yeah. If it was an hour and 15, I would have done it. You know what I mean? Or if it's an hour and 30, I would do it. I'd say, you're going to have to pay me more. Sometimes it's not even worth it, the paperwork. And sometimes you can do all the work, and get done and then tell the customer, and they're like, I'm not paying that. They told me, I've had this problem before. I had it where the secretary was saying something a little different, and they caught us on the verbiage of it. And they said, no, they said the material is included, and I'm like, no, nope. That was just a service call. Well, they said everything was included. No, we're not covering a strut and springs. You know what I mean? So that's why a company around here, which I would also preach, is that you once you get there, you need to tell them, say, look, you're probably looking at, $300-$400. And I might even put a range in there. If they're like, if you're like, you're okay with that. Okay. If you want to get technical, you should have them sign, blah, blah, do a written estimate, yada, yada. Excuse me. Excuse me. So that's when I switched our pricing from 85 per call to 405 per call, and only lost one repair estimate since 2001. We are as busy, but slow down and making more this year. Is that a typo? 405? That seems like a huge jump. I don't know how. Then switch from a price per call to what is your go-to service vehicle? Go-to service vehicle? It all depends. I think it all depends on where you're at, in the stage of your business, in a sense, right? Like it's really weird, but when gas was over like $4, a gallon back in, somebody correct me here, 2000, was it 2008 era? Anyways, it was over $4. It was like, oh my God. But then when it came down to like $2 and stuff, it was like, oh, this ain't so bad. We could get the big SUVs and trucks. And, where now I look at it and I go, you know what? I mean, everything's expensive. Gas, insurance is getting nuts. It's just, everything's expensive. So, I mean, for me, like I got the little Nissan right now. I wouldn't say that'd be my go-to for service or whatever, but hey, I tell you what, it gets good gas, and it's very reliable. It's simple, but it just depends on where you're growing. Because if you're going to get into like commercial, you got to have a little bit bigger vehicle. That was kind of the problem with us. I was going to kind of keep the smaller trucks like the Ford Rangers around, but excuse me, it came to a point where it was like, I'm not going to have the guys deal with a small truck, and then they're going to switch into a big truck. And then you start realizing that, well, now I got to, either you might have a truck payment on it or now you got to pay insurance on it. And so it's sitting most of the time, or the guys don't like driving. You got to do one vehicle. So mine still is the vans. I really like the vans. I think you can do, they give you a lot of benefit because for one, they're a huge billboard. You know what I mean? I still like that you can put ladders on top, right? You got the ladder racks there's so many vendors out there that make them, or outfitters. You can throw stuff in at the end of the day. So I really like the vans. You know what I mean? Now, even our newer vans that we've had, they sound like they got weak transmissions in them. We're going to see because they're getting right to that crest point where it's here at 80,000 to 120. So let's hope not. But the torque converter has some weld spots on it that make heat spots or something. And that's what kills the torque converter or something like that from when I watched. So it just all depends. But like I said, you can do it from anything, I know there's a company, actually a bigger company, they run out of a little minivan, do residential. I do like, since I've gotten older, I've like that I can reach for stuff versus climbing for stuff, because climbing gets old, man. Tony says, Rusty says, where are you out to? Says Tony, I'm in Pennsylvania. It's Tony guy. I really like running Dodge Caravan. He says it's best on gas, better than any of the trucks. Yeah, minivans, they're, like I said, one of our builders, a big builder, they do a lot of red steel. It still throws me to this day. They drive, the two owners, I think, will buy the brand new vehicles. They drive the new vehicles. They'll put a few miles on them, whatever. They'll hand them down through the business. And, the thing about minivans, is, they're kind of like, they're just kind of ugly. They're ugly. They're kind of mutts. You know what I mean? And that's what makes them kind of cheap, right? Because trucks are expensive because everybody wants a pickup truck. Everybody wants to have their arm out the window and look cool. And everybody wants to, and trust me, trucks are nice, right? You can put garbage and stuff in there and dirt and everything. They have their purpose too. It's just, in minivans. So I did something, what was it, the other day with the Nissan, right? And it's like, I picked up the tire. And some of you guys know, if you pick up a tire on a 3/4 ton truck, it's like you're blowing your guts out, right? You got to put it up. You got to get big tools. And I'm thinking, this tire is so light. So minivans are even smaller. Everything's cheaper. Rusty says, I don't have an advertised call rate. I see. What's up, TB? What's your thoughts on paying $1,500 monthly for ongoing website design, SEO optimization, Google? Obviously, my marketing company that specializes in garage door industry. That's a good question. If you got the money and you need the work, I would say go for it. You know what I mean? If you just got money to kind of burn. I'm feeling like there's a lot of these places I don't trust. My brother-in-law, he's a very smart dude. He even told me, like, with Facebook, he was spending somewhere around that range, I think $1,200-$1,500. And he said, I'm done. He said, I'm done. He says, he said, like, I'm getting kind of like bogus leads. He said it was weird to him. I forget what he kind of said, but he said something of the nature, like, he goes, if they call you, it's like you close the job. He's like, but if they message you, it's like they're just probing, or it's like your competition, just to see like what you charge per square foot and stuff like that. He does flooring. And so I just don't like, it's kind of like the phone book, and they sit there and they promise you this and promise you that. And then it's like right now, I go on Facebook, and I mean, I still, because I probably talk about it and it's listening, and you know how that stuff goes. I'm getting advertisement from out of state. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, why am I getting advertisement out of state? This is not even a local area code. So me and my brother-in-law both believe that they're legit, but they didn't tell you where they're legit. You know what I mean? So they're blowing this stuff out, right? To get we got you this many clicks, and because you guys all know how it is. you get all this, and you're like, they say you got me all these clicks, but I sure as heck didn't get all these jobs. So, it's tough. I think Rusty on it. If it says 405 So $405. So am I understand that right? What is it? So if you're charging 405 though, I'm just curious, like, is that a service call? Like, is that a service call, or can you give me a little more, like, like, so if somebody calls you right now and says, I need you to come out and fix my photo eyes, you're at just 405 out the door, or is it like that's including an opener, or what's 405? Tony TBI says, did that increase my business tremendously? Well, see, like I said, it worked for Tony, you know. Margin-based pricing to find my rate. I says, I don't know or care what anyone else charges because I'm the top customer guy in the area. Well, like you said, if you can do it, you can do it. Liftmaster Evan, he says he's still running out of the Kia, man. That's right. Keep the Kia strong, baby. That's right. Josh was running out of the Spark. I was so bummed. I was like, he got a van, and I don't blame him. It's nice to go into a van, but he said he's going to keep the Spark. He said just for the sake of it. And so I like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I loved it because when Josh called me, he's all like, he's got all these commercial doors behind him, 12 by 14 doors, sandwich doors. And I'm like, he's all on the phone with me. He's like FaceTime. And I'm like, what are you working out of, that little car? He's like, yeah. He's like, I don't need the truck. He's like, I got everything delivered. And I'm like, that's what you got to be doing, man. I mean, it's when you sit there and slow down and you meditate and you organize, and it can be a very, I've done it too, where it's easy just to run, right? You just, somebody calls and you just run. And you can't do that. You got to slow down. You got to get stuff on order. It's all about the preparation. I always look at it, like I said before, it's like painting a car, right? Everybody wants to paint the car, right? Everybody wants to paint the car. Nobody wants to do the prep, but we all know it's all in the prep. It's all in the body work, the sanding, the checking, the priming. It still don't look right. Better sand her back down and prime it again, blah, blah, blah. That's what business seems like. It's like you just can't run out there and paint it, because you go out there and paint and you're going to go, oh, it's not preps. Yep. But no kidding, dummy. And I've been there. I've been a dummy. I try not to be a dummy anymore. I still get it once in a while, though. More often than I like to admit. Says, I love the vans. He says, when I was working for a door company, we had Ford Rangers, single cab, extended bed. He says, roof rack and bed cap. That was a good setup. The Rangers were nice. They were cheap, back then. I mean, we were getting them for like $4,000, those Ford Rangers, and they just ran, man. They just ran. It was really weird. The 6-cylinder wasn't any faster than the 4-cylinder for us anyways. We had about the same year. We tried racing them, me and my business partner down the highway. I was disappointed, but I actually liked the 4-cylinder. It did a little better on the gas. I liked the way it sounded. The 6-cylinder just handled, I think that one was a 2008, I believe. So what we had was a 4-cylinder. I had that one for the longest time. I really had a hard time getting rid of it, until I had an employee, the first time he drives, he's a younger kid, right? And he smashed in the back. Somebody blew the airbags on it. I was like, man, I was literally going to take that truck and take it up to even let it die up at deer camp, for just hauling deer around or whatever, just putzing around through the woods. Because I just loved that truck. That truck did so much for me. It didn't owe me nothing. It made me so much money that it was just like one of those vehicles that you're like, you deserve to die with me. You can rust out in the woods. My kids will play on you one day, even. TV mine was a one-time fee of $15. Yeah, because I think he's saying, Tony, I thought he was saying, like, isn't that per month? Monthly. So that's a lot, you know what I mean? Especially if you get your I see. If you get your your months that are down or something like that, that can just be. He says, thanks. He says, great for the insight. Yeah, I think it's, like I said, it's one of those things. If you got the money, it's sitting there, You should obviously invest. I don't know what they tell you the statistics are. Was it like 10, 30%? You should be investing roughly into advertising. It all depends on kind of what you want to do. You know what I mean? If you're, if you're, I still think some of the organic works pretty good. If you can get with people like through the Google, I think Google likes that. See, I've noticed, this is just my opinion. I've noticed with other businesses that I run that Google, it seems like they like a location. That's just what I've noticed. I'm not saying that's for sure, but they like actually a physical commercial location. They want the vehicles. They want feedback from customers. They want that organic, those emails. They do not like out of state. They don't like funny business. So it has to be organic, local. You should have some kind of a decent website. It doesn't have to be super great. I would like to see, obviously, that you have maybe you can do some links or something of that, or whoever you can work with on it to do maybe a little YouTube video in there, and then you can go in there and maybe, tweak it once in a while or twice a year if you want to. Like our website, we haven't dealt with for forever. You know what I mean? But we, like I said, it's one of those things, when you've been around for, 18 years, I mean, we're so saturated that everybody knows us. We have a physical location. They know what our vehicles look like. It's just kind of one of those things, like you're just, the roots are so deep. It's hard to tip the tree over, Not that it can't happen though, because like I said, we're going to see this economic storm. It might have to tighten up. It might have to open up the floodgates a little bit. But I see the stock market jump back again a little bit today. We'll see how it goes. Rusty says, if they dreaded photo ad jiggle, he says, is needed, I will do it for free and gain future customers. Well, like I said, Rusty, if I was doing 405 on my service calls, I could probably do 3 or 4 of those. Probably. That's a high number. Like I said, I'm impressed. If I go out to fix a broken spring, okay, labor will be 405 or more. They want the bearing plates changed. Okay, whatever the spring costs. Me says mark up 100%, and I don't break up parts and labor. Okay, gotcha. Ooh, what's this? Jeffrey says he's got anyone doing, is it lifestyle screens? What are lifestyle screens? Are those the ones that are going in front of the garage door? I don't know. I'm assuming that's what those are. I've heard of it. I looked into it at one time as doing kind of I forget which brand it was, but that's interesting. I wonder, I'd like to know a little bit about that too. I never did the screens. I see Jeffrey says, yep. He said that's what he's talking about, the screens that go in. I might have to look that up. For a second here. I'm going to have to look that up. See if that pops up right away. Because there were so many different ones. I know. I see Tony jumped in down there. I'm still trying to fathom it a little bit, Tony. I'm still processing it. I think that's awesome. Like I said, if that works, I don't know if that would work in my demographic area because I don't know. I know people. I don't know. I think they fall over in our area. They just say, "Go fly a kite." I'll call somebody else. Lifestyle. I don't even know. I'd love to hear how Rusty's like. What is like that covers you on everything. We come out, we'll basically get you rocking and rolling. Lifestyle. Let's see here. Screen. Garage doors. Huh? It popped up for that at least. Lifestyle. Garage. Let's check it out here. Oh, snap. They even got their little. Okay, so it's kind of, I don't know if it's going to show up or not. It's kind of got the one. There we go. Zoom, focus. It's got that one piece. You can kind of see it flopping down there. Interesting. I always figured that'd be kind of for the suburbians, you know what I mean? For those soccer moms. And it might be, I'd love to know what kind of, profit margin, what people are buying them for and what they're selling them for and how long it's taking them. It'd be great if anybody ever came across or did one. Cause, they're really nice. I mean, I think they'd be really nice. I mean, if I was to have if I lived in a subdivision basically, and you're gonna have parties over or friends. I mean, the bugs are gnarly, man. Especially you got food in there and stuff. So it'd definitely be a nice upsell, and especially if you're there already doing a garage door or something, you might be able to potentially offer it. You know what I mean? Do do do. I think I missed that one. TB says, "Thanks, guys." I said, "Got any more questions? Throw them out. Throw them out. Got a great group of people." Uh, yep. Press 2. Yes, Jeffrey says, "Thanks, Tony." Jeffrey's got. They set up behind door on. Ooh, they got extension springs. I don't know about extension springs. That's like that word. Ooh, we don't talk about that. That's a naughty word. I don't know about extension springs. That scares me. I guess it probably makes kind of sense, but ooh, I don't know if I could have extension springs back in my life. Tony's got what's he got? It says make sure you charge accordingly. Jeffrey says they are time consuming. I wonder if they fall in, Tony, into that category, or if anybody knows. If they run into that category of like, it's just like it's got to seal up, and there's a lot of like kind of like, you got to make sure the garage doors up out of the way. It's got to kind of plunk into place. Like I said, I mean, if it's I guess if anybody ever does one, if Jeffrey, Jeffrey says I've done a few. Says, yeah, Tony says done it rolling. He says a pain in the butt. But it'd be cool. Like if I don't know where Jeffrey, I don't know where you're at, what state and stuff you're at. I'd love to go behind somebody and watch, and take some film of it and just touch it and play around with it, because it'd definitely be cool. I don't know if it'd be a good fit for affordable, because the problem is it's one of those things that when you you guys understand, once you start getting, if you get employees, they're kind of programmed. You gotta almost make it like another division, right? And that's a separate guy's job in a sense, because it's hard for them to try to mix. Not that, and I know it seems easy for us because sometimes we're multitaskers in a sense, but for them it can be very like, challenging sometimes. What's Eric got? He says, in the middle of Ohio suburbs. He says, I work and see door screens occasionally. Nice. I wonder if anybody's putting their sticker on them, who's installing them, how big they are. I see they got the roll-up ones. I don't know. I wonder what they're selling like at like Home Depot and Lowe's and Menards. I wonder what they sell there. And then who do they kind of kick off and recommend to install? I wonder. Because it's almost like sometimes like the Home Depot, Menards, Lowe's, in a nutshell, they've done the research, and you can, they've done the research. And so you can kind of piggyback off where you kind of go, okay, I see this product is what they carry, or they carry the ones that just roll up. They're like the cheapest ones. And that's what you got to kind of go off, have that in your mind a little bit for price point for like $100. So when you're like, yeah, I can install this door for you, but it's going to be $4,000. And they're like, I can go to Menards for $100. You're like, okay, go to Menards for $100 and have a nice day. Boom. What do we got? Rusty's got. See ya, Tony. I see you drop something there. Say, dinner's ready. What's for dinner, Tony? Dang, he didn't even let me know. So I bid every job individually based on how messy the garage is. I like that. Distance from the shop or something that nobody else could fix. But I use 405 as my hourly rate that I want to bid every hour I bill for. Nice. Like I said, that works out, Like I said, that works out good. I don't know if I don't know if anybody else. What kind of like I'm just kind of curious, Rusty. Like, do you get what do you get for like blowback on it? Do you just I mean, you just really go through like whatever 10, 20 customers, and then finally you just get the one that's like whatever, just come out and fix it, and that's what you because I'm assuming there's got to be blowback on that somewhere because I don't think I know where Rusty's at. Would you say Pennsylvania, right? I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming there's competition around, and they got to charge a cheaper price than that, and some people are just going to go off of that. Because I don't know how to like because I know your service call can be low in a sense, right? I've had it where um, I think for us even we're technically the highest in our area. I think we're right around. I know there was going to be another price increase. I think Cap said, and I think we're at like 120 just for the initial service call. And I believe the commercial is like 160 or something, 75, right up in that ballpark. And there's some people that they'll turn it down, but I realize that a lot of the people understand that they're we're kind of like we're legit. You know what I mean? We're not gonna be. We tell you we're gonna come, we're gonna come. Dun, 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 dun. Look at Tony. Tony, I want to know what's for dinner. You better text me. If it's good enough, I'm coming down. He says there's a rich neighborhood. Eric Scott. He says rich neighborhood that has a few. All the ones I've seen are made by a small company in Florida. Almost all of them are double wide doors. That is interesting. Why the double wides and not the singles? Probably because doubles are just more common. Not too many people do the double doors anymore. They do the double wide. What's Eric got here? I ran into one last summer where someone attached a basic Chamberlain to the side to make it automatic. Ooh, yeah, that would have been cool to get. Wish you got a video of it. That'd be pretty sweet. That would be pretty cool. I don't think I was always looking into it. We had a vendor that was kind of reaching out to us, and I kind of thought about it, but it was just too many irons in the fire. You know what I mean? It can get that way real easy. Like I said, we used to work on the sliding doors, like at your grocery store. We did the man doors for commercial, the steel doors. It gets to be a mess. I mean, it's like even now, if I could, I don't know how to explain it. Like if I didn't enjoy so much, sometimes I like Cap knows he can use me for like some of the fence jobs and stuff like that. I can take that off of him, right? But if I didn't enjoy it and it wasn't, for instance, right? Like I'll use the example here. When you deal with electronics, garage doors, I mean that is a funnel, right? But typically every day the customer doesn't walk in their yard and look at every sprinkler head, right? Until it breaks. So but a garage door, right? If they don't open, their app doesn't work, their phone's not working, the Wi-Fi is not working, right? It's problem after problem. And like I said, that's why the profit is really good in the fencing. It's a zero, pretty much zero callback, except for when somebody hits it, like that last video I just put up, unless they run into it. But it's just you put it up, it's one and done, and you move on to the next one. You know what I mean? And that's what's really nice. It's got labor into it, but sometimes it's just such a blessing to not have to deal with like worrying about when you did something. Even when I did those Menards job, I had something. I kept thinking, did I tighten down the bolts on the top of that head unit? Gosh, I hope so. I'd hate for that thing to separate. You know what I mean? And then the problem comes into where it's like that job's what is it, like an hour and 15 minutes away. And it's like, you know, and yeah, I just went to that one job. I think I mentioned it in one of the fence videos. It's been like that for what, 10 years or so now, right? Since we did that job, there was stuff that wasn't done exactly right. They paid the bill, everything. Nobody called and complained. There was nothing. It was just done, you know. It's kind of almost like the roofing sometimes, right? There's good money in roofing. It's hard work, right? Liability too. But typically the customer don't get up on the roof and look at it. So people can just kind of do stuff that's a little, but roofing, I would never, you don't mess around with roofing, man. That's people's, that's money, everything. That's a lot. Did I write this one? I ran into last summer where someone attached that opener. Yes. Just pause live stream. Some call came for a service call tomorrow. That's why you don't give out your cell phone. Yes, yes. Someone called. It does get to be I'm kind of glad Rusty brought that up because it does get to be problematic with your uh personal phone. I have found that out. I learned this from another guy that did what did he did man doors. That was his business. He's in another couple cities over. And he always told me, he says, you know what, Dave? He says, at the end of the day, he goes, you know where the cell phone sits? He goes, it sits right in the glove box or whatever, right in the center console of his vehicle. And he says, I go home. And he says, when I get home, he said, I go in the house and I don't look back. And I thought, yeah, I get that. You know what I mean? Because it is, but what I've noticed over the years is like for us anyways, if you deal with commercial customers, most of our commercial customers, we don't do 24 hours anymore. We got away with that. It was too problematic. We hardly got anybody. In I mentioned this to the wife the other day because actually Mr. Tony brought it up, and I hope Tony doesn't mind, but he did a service call. Basically $500 for a broken spring after hours, which is awesome. Congratulations. That's good money. I'm glad he made the money. You know what I mean? That's awesome. But like she told me, which I kind of forgot, she goes, you remember when you do that? And I said, yeah. And she goes, how they always just want to wait for the next day. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, but they interrupt our night. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, that's why we don't do 24 hours anymore. And I was like, oh yeah, that's the point. But it's also a loss of a sale. So there's that. But I get where it's like sometimes your sanity means more to you sometimes, depending on your situation. And it's not that you can't ever turn it away and say, hey, you know what, I can't help you tonight. You're going to have to call somebody else or you don't answer or all that jazz. But like I said, that's why everybody's at different levels, which is great. And that's why I just try to be here as kind of a across the board, you know what I mean? Because I don't want anybody to ever think I'm trying to persuade somebody one way or the other. Because like I said, everybody's demographic is different. You know what I mean? Everybody's situation, everybody's income, everybody's home, everybody's bills are completely different than mine. All I can tell is what I've experienced personally and what I've seen. And I'm glad you guys are here for that. And you guys listen and also put in your input because I learn from you guys too. Kevin's got anyone installed raccoon bug blockers or Rascal. There it is. Rascal. Yes, I have done one. I remember for a customer, we had problems with people just walking in the building. And I feel like this was quite a few years ago. Their customer service was really good. They did a night. I mean, it worked. It really wasn't so much. It wasn't for like the bugs. This one was more like chain link fence. Just keep people so they get a breeze to the place. And I was really impressed. I thought it went really good. Ours was kind of an easy, I guess. It was pretty much a full vertical door, ground level door, but it was a full vertical door. The building was super tall. And I remember that was the one, I think that was the one that I direct drived what was it? The LiftMaster? Which model is that? The MJ? Yeah, it was an MJ50. Man, did that door fly? I shouldn't have done it. But I was in that phase where I was so sick of the chains and the sprockets and the spreader bar. I thought we're going to direct couple this puppy, and I'm guaranteed the clutch was probably prematurely wearing out over time, but that door would fly. I got a lot of compliments on that door. A lot of the maintenance guys, everybody, man, can you make our other doors do that? That door's sweet. And I'm like, that door should not go that fast. That's way too fast. Luckily, we had like an edge on the bottom. We had a full curtain on the side for pedestrians and stuff like that. But still, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. And it was on those step drums. So step drums are really weird how they work. Like they start off, slow, and then when they get to the bigger drum, it's kind of like your bicycle, right? Changing gears, man. That thing was it'd go. I forget which way it was fast, but when it hit the big part of the drum, it went fast. What's Eric got here? I'd love to work on one of those automatic grocery store doors. Ooh, you say that. You say that. You say that. You know what I found? Eric, on those? What I ran into? I don't know if this is across the board or not. What I found out was that those things, like, the problem is the material, right? To get the parts. And there's some that are, I forget the names. One was like a Stanley, one was almost like a Hormon or something, some brand of that type. There was all these different manufacturers of these things. And these things were so like, I think they're tighter than even the garage door industry, right? Because kind of like in the garage door, like everybody knows everybody, kind of like when you're in your general area. These things were tight, man. And they didn't want you to, like, if you weren't like, they're like, who is this? And they're like, yeah, you're going to have to find a dealer. And then, they wouldn't work with you. You deal with the dealer. I mean, and the prices on this stuff, you would think it goes into a hospital bed or something. You know what I mean? Because they tell you the price. They're like, yeah, that motor's like $1,200. You're like, for a little DC motor belt thing. And I don't even know for sure if that's what's bad with it, but I'm thinking it is. It's wobbling, it's squeaking, it's making all kinds of noise. So then now you're just kind of winging it, right? You're throwing, and then you're also like, now you got behind the scenes, right? You're like hoping the customer's willing to pay for this. You got to either send it to them. They're like, yeah, they approve it. Okay, you approve it, but are you really going to send the check? And then, you're not in with them. They want it fixed. And it's because it's their main door, right? Their livelihood, right? And you got to imagine, right, with a front door on a commercial building, right, on like a storefront, it ain't like a garage door where maybe 10 or 14 forklifts go through that thing. You're talking hundreds of people going through this, and now we got animals and seagulls, and we got bugs, and we got the air conditioning, and we got the heater, and I mean, just the list goes on and on. And those things were just, I mean, and then we used to do them for Menards. We'd be working on them. And if you ever see Menards, they're kind of set up all the same across the country here. They got their sliders, but then they got two man doors on the side for like emergency, or just if that door, we would rope that thing off, put, red tape, everything, barrels up. You wouldn't believe how many people. We got the cover, like you're taking off. You're like, does it tip or does it pop off? People are walking under that thing, and you're like, hey, yelling at people, what are you doing? Oh, I don't know. I got to get in and get my shovel. I got to get in and get my pot soil, and you're like, please, like, you don't know what's going on here. So I just put that out there just as so parts were horrible. We finally gave up. It was like, they didn't want you to work on it, after hours or anything. Or if they did, it was like, they want you at like 5 a.m. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. So there's like one company that does it around here, does a big service area, and they can have it. You know what I mean? Because it's just, and they're horrible. They don't get to them right away. But man, those people just, when's this going to be fixed? When's this going to be fixed? I don't know. How about we just order a whole new piece? Like order the whole new assembly. Oh, we're not doing that. How much is that? I don't know. I got a price on it. It looks like it's, $50,000, What's Rusty got? It says the only thing I can figure out is I'm the owner and we are a respected business. He says nobody complains about price. I had one guy a few months ago say it was too much, but then called me back to do it. Man, that's not bad. Like I said, maybe Rusty, he needs a few more garage door people over in that area. Kevin, you mean what's Jeffrey got here? Kevin, you mean brush seal? I don't think I know what that one is. No, he says brush seal. Says no, it's like lifestyle door, but commercial. Hmm. I would say Menards and Walmart have busiest automatic doors. I would agree. I'd agree. They are very, very, very busy on those things. Like I said, it's always a weird when you work for these companies, because you got to get, like Menards, we had to start getting like, you have to go up in the front. You got to get a purchase order. That's the most important, right? You got to get that purchase order number. And then you got to, Menards is really kind of, I don't want to say they're sneaky, but it's just, it takes a lot of time, right? So you got to go in, you got to make sure you sign in, right? That thing's like the holy grail. And then you got to clock in, right? Because they're watching your clock. They're going to use that to see when you send them a bill and say, I was there for 3 hours, and they're going to look at it and go, no, he was only here for 2 hours. And that's where we ran into the springs, or not the springs, I'm sorry, but the scissor lift. They would not pay us extra for our scissor lift. And I was like, your little platforms that are like a diving board to me with your harnesses don't work. Because the problem was those things would hit the ceiling before they get up all the way to the garage door. And so when I used to work there with a guy, he smoked cigarettes and stuff. And I tell him, I say, dude, I said, smoke another one. I said, I'm going to stay here, eat my lunch or eat a sandwich in my lunch pail. I said, because I said, basically we gotta burn an hour or two here, just kind of screwing off, taking our time because we're on the clock. And that other hour or two is going to pay for our scissor lift. Because if we put on there anything for a scissor lift, they wouldn't pay us for it. So all we could do is put it into time. We bring our own, they wouldn't get us for that, but you try to put it on the bill. So you just learn over time, kind of what your targeted customer, what you want to do and what you don't want to do. It just takes time. I just like to be here as a guy that's kind of had experience with it. So that way you can kind of go, yeah, I'm good. Dave said something about, I did one sliding door on a grocery store and he was right. This is their only entrance. People were complaining. Somebody hit my ladder with a shopping cart, knocked me off the ladder, broke my freaking leg. By the time I went to the hospital and spent $10,000, it wasn't worth it. You know what? Dave was right. No. I don't know. Sometimes, like I said, you just got to kind of choose your battles and what you're passionate about, what works. What's this one say? Air curtains. I don't think I've ever tore an air curtain apart. I've been right by them with the switches and stuff like that. I don't really see air curtains that much anymore. Like when our one oil change / car wash guy, they had some. I don't know if there's a lot to go wrong with them because they're just kind of a blower and like a switch. So maybe that's why we never really seen them. And then now, to kind of keep the heat in and stuff, but a lot of them do like the rubber curtain doors, the high speed ones. And so I don't know what they were keeping those curtains, obviously, because they wanted to keep the door open. That's what it was. I remember now. They kept the main door, the garage door, the sectional garage door open most of the time. And they left the blower on, to help keep some of the heat in for that car wash. But I don't really see much of them anymore. Do 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 do. What's this one say? Is it dab? That's pretty cool. Hate when the spring breaks and covers. Oh man, isn't that the truth? Man, that is the truth. I've had that before. It covers the nuts, and bolts. Oh, I've had some, especially if they're commercial. They'll especially like the 6-inch like to do that. When they explode, they go over the your set screws and everything. And I've had to like take a torch and cut them off just to get access to them. You get kind of creative. Rich Bay. I like the drink. Find me an island somewhere. Rich has got put in air curtains in grocery stores and schools. Nice. Nice. Rich, if you think of it, let me know. I'm just curious a brand. What brand you normally dealt with, if there was a certain one or multiple. Because I couldn't even think of a brand of an air curtain right now. Oh, Kevin's got. I'll probably stay on for about another 5 or 10 minutes, just so you guys know. Otherwise, you know, if you got something, you guys are always more welcome to shoot me a text or email me. It's just, I'm like, Tony, I got food coming. I got dinner coming. Hot food. Oh, Kevin's guy says Martin is always 3 trips. First, tell them what I need. They order the parts themselves. Yes, that is true. Second trip, tell them they ordered the wrong parts. Third is I actually fix it. Oh my gosh. Kevin, cheers. You nailed it, dude. You nailed it. Oh my gosh, that is so true. I kind of forgot about that. I've gone to them so many times. I remember they had a J. I think it was door 10. Seems like door 10's always the problem child. That's the door that gets used all the time in the back for shipping and receiving. They've changed the buildings around a little bit. At least ours they have. But door 10 was always inside and outside door 10. Anyways, they had a J on there, right? A LiftMaster J model. They wore that thing out. I must have already changed 4 to 6 set of springs, and I've upcycled them as big as they could grow before, you had to change drums. And they're going to hit the wall and all that kind of stuff. And they only would last about a year, maybe a year and about 2 months, maybe, but I'd always mark up on there the date. Anyways, we told them, look, this opener's shot. The bearings, I mean, the chains in here is just clattering away. You need to replace this, right? And what do they do? They say they're all ready for us, blah, blah. They got the open, get an MJ. Oh my gosh. A freaking MJ? That ain't going to last. I mean, the poor J was already going through, you should, if anything, you should be doing like a gear headed, or an H or whatever, something even bigger yet. Dun, 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 dun. Do I smoke weed? Nope, no weed for me. Can't afford it. I'm broke. No, just spray them. Oh, what's Eric got here? So I just learned the other day our company works on air curtains. Well, son of a biscuit. Would have been nice somebody would tell you that. Hey, look at that. We got two coconuts. I've been watching you for 7 years, man. Really? And where have you been? I think the last video I just watched, one of them, an old video, was 5 years. And I thought, have I been on here for 5 years? I thought I've only been on here for 3, honestly. Just listening while doing yard work. Heck yeah. I was riding the old rider the other day, cutting some grass. It was fun. Gotta getting paid, of course. Is that doing yard work? He's got Mars. That's an air curtain, huh? I would have never thought that for a name. Mars. Nice. It says I make 1,000 a week, but I live in Oklahoma. So I've been about to save money because it's cheap to live here. Oklahoma is. I like knowing where the cheap places are. I can tell you that. That's pretty cool. I'm glad to know that. But Dab, I don't think I've ever seen you on the lives or anything. So what do you do? Are you doing garage doors? I call it chucking a truck, or you got what's the, give us some details. We love the details. $1,000. And like I said, if it's cheap, heck yeah, man, that's still good money. Heck, we could do that up here in Michigan. I think we always figured it was kind of for our trucks. It wasn't net, but it was gross. They make about 1,000, 1,200 a day per truck. But we got a lot of overhead. Nice. As I work, Dab says I work for someone. And it's just me. Nice. Hey, sometimes that's, can't go wrong, There's a lot of pros and stuff. It just all depends on what you want to do in this world, that's for sure. You know, it all depends. You can do anything. You can. You really can. Some of it takes time though, and some of it does take a little bit of money, unfortunately. Some of that advertising and all that kind of stuff, you know. But wherever people are comfortable, that's what makes work really not so much work when you kind of enjoy it. Some days are a little rougher than others, but when you can enjoy what you do and you feel like you did a good job and you served somebody and did them right, there's some benefits in that. There's really nice stuff. Rich B's golf. He says, where at? He says in Oklahoma. Oklahoma. I don't think we got much. What do we have? Mexican or no, we had Mexico, Florida, Indiana. I don't know if we've had anybody from Oklahoma, Cali, obviously the Pennsylvania. Nice. Is it Duncan? Well, I'll be darned. There's Sasha. He says from Kentucky. We got Kentucky. Gotta love the old Kentucky. Kentucky's fun to travel through. I like Kentucky. Brandon, we got Texas. Son of a biscuit. I did forget about Texas. I don't know if we get a lot of Texas. So Dab says, do I drink beer? No, I can't afford that either. I do occasionally. I will on special occasions, but I don't know. It's hard. It's hard for me for beer sometimes, because sometimes I want to kind of go all in, but then I'm like the next day I don't want to feel that all in. So it's kind of it's hit and miss. I'll do it for like social and stuff like that, but I tell you, I'm getting old. I'm telling you, I'm getting old. I'm getting doesn't process as fast. I gotta keep as much as I can as fast as I can. Maybe a little alcohol would help thin it out a little bit, though. Keep those blood veins cleaned out, because you know. Ooh, Steve says we got New York City, NC. Not a native. I gotta check my email because I feel like I'm missing one there. I'll check my email. If there's anything I forgot for any of you guys, just shoot me another email or just do a forward on it. If you got anything that's I forgot and you think I'm a little bit behind on, because sometimes they get buried. I get the Zillow. I've been trying to get rid of the Zillow, and it's crazy because Zillow just keeps blowing up my stuff. Rich says, okay. Lived in Norman for 20. Is that 22? How many guys do I got? Well, Cap, I think he's got. I think he got 1, 2, 3. I don't know. I think he's got 4 under him, so 5. And then they got the secretary, so they got a couple secretaries in there. So somewhere in the bushel of 7, 10. You know what I mean? Depending on what you count for the accountants too. And I guess if you include me, forgot about including me. But anyway, you guys, I gotta go. I love talking to you. Food is on its way. We got a few hot dogs coming, so I'm super excited. Costco or Sam's are pretty cheap, and they work. So we'll talk to you later. Have a great one. Thanks for being here.